Orange Audubon Society's own 6-year-old festival, the North Shore Birding Festival. So it'll be December 2nd through 6th this year. And this is our business card for the festival we're passing out. We're featuring that it has 370 plus bird species recorded. And on the back of our business card, we have the ecotourism definition from the International Ecotourism Society, that it's responsible travel to natural areas that conserves the environment, sustains the well-being of the local people, and involves interpretation and education. So we try to strive to promote this kind of ecotourism definition. There was a time when there were some kind of schemes about, quote, in ecotourism that we clearly saw would be damaging to the birds and to the enjoyment by the people. So we are promoting this kind of ecotourism, this definition. And the Lake Apopka North Shore is the top eBird hotspot in Florida. And here's the evidence. Here we compare it in number of species. And this is 352. The 370 feature comes from the work of Harry Robinson, who did surveys out there over a 20-year period. Those are not all recorded on eBird. And then, as you see, Fort DeSoto, St. Mark's, Gulf Island, Honeymoon Island, Merritt Island, Ball Point, Lake Apopka has more than all of those. And it is the easiest place to see fulvous whistling ducks, probably in the United States. This is a duck that's moved up from Mexico and the more tropical areas. And it's a beautiful, very cool duck. And as you see, we use it in the logo for our festival. And this map shows locations where we have trips now. Most of the trips are in the Lake Apopka North Shore. That was the original intent of the festival, is to feature the North Shore, introduce the North Shore. And by the way, we have driving privileges all over where normally you would only be able to ride your bike or walk. But now we've branched out and we want to feature some other areas in Central Florida. So we got a trip to Esmeralda, Pine Meadows Conservation Area. We go on a boat trip to Mount Dora, the Rusty Anchor boat trip. We go over to Seminole Forest to see the scrub jays. And let's see, I'll talk about Wekiwa Springs, where we have several trips based. And then we go all the way up to Frank Rendon Park in Daytona Beach to see the gulls. And we go over here to Orlando Wetlands Park. So we're branch out about an hour drive from this Lake Apopka area. But this is what we're featuring, this 20,000 acres that was once part of Lake Apopka. Then it was, canals were built and pumped the water off what had been part of the lake, and they farmed it, but the farms polluted the lake over time. And finally, since the farmers weren't able to change their practices, the state was able to buy out the farms with a little federal help as well, and turn it into a restoration area. So it's not a park. It's not staffed as a park. Orange Audubon has chipped in and done a lot with getting grants to develop educational kiosks, and we have our ambassador program. So here's the wildlife drive, goes dun, 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 and it's on the eastern part. And I just do want to say, but there are many trails over on the western part, and that's what we feature in the festival. Here we are approaching the McDonald Canal, also called the North Shore Trailhead. And that's where we meet for the field trips, all the field trips that are going out there on the western part. And that's also where we rendezvous for lunch. And it used to be a little more even closely packed. We're trying to do COVID precautions now. And there are good birds right there in the McDonald Canal area. The wet swales host killdeer and Wilson snipe. And there's stuff to see even right there where you're meeting for your field trip. Bluebirds, there's some bluebird boxes there. And sparrows, there's an area, there's quite a few areas actually where we look for sparrows there. Grasshopper sparrow can be found. And these two winter sparrows, clay colored, well, they're all grasshopper is a winter bird too here. It's not the Florida grasshopper sparrow, it's the regular grasshopper sparrow. The clay colored is a littler sparrow that's very pretty, and the white crowned sparrow. And if we're lucky, we see a bobcat. You probably have not be with a group to see one, but people do. You see raptors, like this very cool merlin with a little songbird. Sam Mitchum took this picture. And we do the birding by ear field trip, and we're going to have several of those this year, right there at the McDonald Canal, because there's so many birds just in these grasses and forbs. And we have a good time with that. And then when you go through the gate, let's say here's the area where you were parking, and then you come through the gate that's normally locked, but we have access, come down these roads, and there's lots of birdie terrain. And some of it where it's wet, you have various ducks and waterfowl, and the black-necked stilts, they had a good season breeding with us, and most of them have gone south, but some every year we always find some, and that's a thrill. So there's this canal, the main canal that shunts the water actually downstream, which is north, the Apopka-Beauclair Canal, and it's a good birding spot. Here's the millennial strip. By the way, we really try to bring in younger participants by giving half price field trip fees for college students, and actually having a couple trips that are specifically trying to gather the young ones taught by younger leaders. So anyway, the bridge of the Apopka-Beauclair Canal is a good birding hotspot. And some of the birds that we see regularly in that area are the least flycatcher and the ash-throated flycatcher, both Western birds, but they are regularly seen every winter. And then this far western part, southwestern part of the property is the Clay Island trailhead here. And you go in here to this lakeside tower, and that is where we go for sunrises. Excuse me, the angle to the lake, to the sun is perfect going there. And so we have sunrise trips each day of the festival, taught by photographers. And yeah, each year we've been increasing the number of photo trips as well as birding trips. And this year we have the most of all. And yeah, these good photographers like Marie Foltz will catch stuff like the tree swallows gathering. And the smooth-billed Ani and the groove-billed Anis were hits of the festival several years. First, it was the groove-billed Ani, and that's a southwestern bird, but it's been seen various times over the years. And then our friend Karen Hamlet found a smooth-billed Ani 2 years ago, and that is a South Florida bird that's got a very limited range, and it's very, very rare. So we were really excited to see that. And again, this is the map of the whole property, 20,000 acres, lots to explore. And one thing about it, though, is that the Lake Apopka Wildlife Drive is really excellent birding since Hurricane Irma. It was good before, but Hurricane Irma broke the levee that keeps the water out into the lake. And this water flowed this way, flooded Lust Road, the main road that comes up to the pump house. And the water just stayed on the fields. From then on, they had no means, the district had no means to pump it off, or motivation necessarily. It would have been expensive. And consequently, these have become excellent bird habitat for gallinules, purple gallinules, least bitterns. Least bitterns would be very rare at our festival. American bitterns and ducks. So because it has gotten so good, and just because it's a free, open place to go, the Lake Apopka Wildlife Drive has gotten very crowded. So kind of similarly to how the biggest week, the festival was to show people different places to go, our festival is showing people different places to go besides the Lake Apopka Wildlife Drive. You can always go to the Wildlife Drive on your own any Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. you can get in. You have to be off by 5 p.m. So that's something everybody can do, but we are showing you some other sites. And of course, we have the great leaders. The Green Mountain Trailhead is down here at the southwestern corner, and it goes up to the highest portion that overlooks Lake Apopka. And there's a tower, and it's pretty cool. And then a few miles up is the Ferndale Preserve. And this was all purchased through grant funding by the Green Mountain Scenic Byway effort. Our friend Greg Gensheimer and others spearheaded this. And of course you have indigo buntings and painted buntings seen. And so again, all the locations are shown, and this is all on the website. And so we're touring all over and within about a 1 hour radius. And one place that Orange Audubon has always had a relationship with is the Orlando Wetlands Park. And so we have one trip there on Monday morning. And we also now are branching out to Merritt Island, and we have a couple trips Monday morning also. And this is our young field trip leader, Jeffrey Gammon. And just in is that we're going to have a Black Rails trip. That's a very popular trip at the Space Coast Birding Festival. And our leader, Craig Watson, who comes from South Carolina, works for U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. He has set this up with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service here at the St. John's National Wildlife Refuge. And that one's going to fill up quick. This is David Simpson. He's back with us this year for leading a couple trips. He won't be leading the Black Rail trip. Kathy and I were on that one right before COVID, and we got to hear it. It's a very elusive little rail that's threatened now. And then the final trip is the Gulls Trip with the wonderful Michael Brothers, one of the nation's gulls expert. And this is before COVID. There will be fewer people, but it's quite a phenomenon, the gathering of the gulls on the beach in the afternoon in the winter. And the final thing I want to tell you about is that the reason we moved the festival to December was because we were able to get the youth camp at Wekiwa Springs State Park as a place to put up our trip leaders from out of town. And also certain of the cabins we are renting out. Those would be mostly the youth cabins, which just have bunk beds and shared bathrooms. But you could check that out, and we're particularly promoting that to the students on scholarship. And it's just a fabulous park. If you don't know it, it's worth checking out. You can go with Kathy on her surveys, but we have several trips there. And we are going to have keynotes this year in the youth camp dining hall. We're getting them catered by 2 different restaurants, Friday night and Saturday night. I don't have those definite, but that'll all be posted for you. And our speakers are going to be Rainier Mungia, who is a wonderful photographer and world traveler and teacher, and Jeff Boughton, the Kawa rep, who is a raptor expert. He's going to be leading some trips during the festival. And so those are your 2 keynotes. And all this will be on the website very clearly. I was hoping that there would be a chance we could roll out registration in conjunction with this talk. But we just have a few more details to put together, but we are close. So how do you keep posted? Oh, and I forgot to say that because we're at Wekiva, we could have birding by kayak on the Wekiva River. And this is Brian Camerano, who gave the talk last week, actually, on the Seabird Islands. And Brian will be there at the festival. So if you want to ask him more, he'll be a leader. but being at Wekiwa, we were able to have night walks looking for owls. And last year we heard American woodcocks, which was a real thrill. Here's a picture of American woodcock from McGee Marsh. And so those trips are fun. And then we have the director of the Mueller Planetarium, Derek Demeter, coming again to do a star talk, and that he does such a great job. So there's much to choose from, and because the trips are small due to COVID, 10 people or 12 people, in rare cases 16, they will fill up. So watch for registration at this website, North Shore Birding Festival. That'll give you the link to sign up for the mailing list, and the people on the mailing list will be first to know when it rolls out. And then there's also a Facebook page. You can just look for North Shore Birding Festival on Facebook, and it will also announce rollout there. So, and we hope to see you. It's Orange Audubon's Festival. We're proud of these areas and love to show them off. And we have some wonderful leaders who are volunteering their time